Curious about the secret to landing more clients? It all starts with a powerful online presence. That's why I'm inviting you to join me and social media expert Taylor for a hands on morning that will completely refresh your entire digital brand. In just 3 hours, we'll revamp your website, take new images for your social media, and align all your online platforms to attract your dream clients. I see so many businesses struggling to connect online, and we want to fix that. For my Massachusetts listeners, join us on Tuesday, April 8th at the Woburn Trade Center for a complete digital makeover. If you're in the Boston area, this in-person workshop is perfect for you. Head to jennybedesigns.com/workshop or click the link in the show notes to find out more. Bring your laptop and get ready to improve your business. Now, on to the episode. Do you ever notice how everyone talks about social media marketing? Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, email marketing, video marketing, but rarely mentions the foundation that holds it all together. And what is that foundation? I am referring to your website. Today, I want to flip the script on traditional marketing advice. If you think about it, if your website was a physical store, you had a brick and mortar, you would most likely be taking care of it, right? You'd be sweeping the floors, you'd be rearranging the displays. I always think about the downtown bookstore, always putting in the latest publications up in that window, keeping it fresh and inviting. But somehow, as business owners, we forget that our websites need the same attention. These websites are our digital storefronts. They are working 24/7 to represent our business. And what I've learned after designing hundreds of websites is that successful marketing isn't about being everywhere. It's having a strong home base, your website, that converts visitors into clients. And that's why I'm sharing today about how your website needs to be the center of your marketing strategy and exactly how to make that happen. Welcome to Website Design Made Simple, the podcast for busy small business owners who want a high-performing website that converts and sells their offers, even while they're sleeping. Because you deserve to have a strategic and beautiful website that truly represents your brand and positions you as the expert that you are. I'm your host, Jenny B., web designer and creative director at Jenny B Designs, where we believe that your website is the one thing that makes you sales and builds your brand at the same time. Ready to say goodbye to a website that you're embarrassed to share? And hello to a money-making, personality-packed powerhouse? Let's head into today's episode. Hello, welcome back. I'm so excited to have you here and joining me on the pod. Quick intro for those that I haven't met before. My name is Jenny B, and I own Jenny B Designs. We are a brand and web design studio, meaning we design beautiful brands, your logo, your visual brand, and website that truly reflect your unique personality as a small business. And of course, that are designed to attract your ideal client and make you money, that are all rooted in marketing strategy. And today's episode is about exactly that. How I tend to think about a website and how it is your marketing foundation. Your website is similar to the hub of a wheel with all of your marketing efforts, has the spokes, such as social media marketing that I mentioned before, email, networking. Those are all the spokes. But the website is in the center, and everything that you're doing should lead back to this central point. Because your website is the only platform that you own and that you can control. And when your website is that marketing hub, what you're doing is that you're building this long-term asset instead of renting space on social media. We all know that with the algorithms, it's becoming increasingly more difficult to be found on social media, to have people even seeing your posts. And sometimes there are blackouts, or you can just lose your account altogether. And that asset, that social media asset, just goes away. Your website, you own it. It can never be taken from you. And your content is working for you 24/7 around the clock, not just when you're posting it. It's going to stay there forever. You're able to control the entire user experience, and the search engines can find and share your expertise. You're not at the mercy of any platform or any algorithm. I want to show you how you can structure your website to be the center of your marketing plan. Your website really needs to be your content hub, where the magic happens, where all your expertise comes together in a way that both people and search engines can easily find. When I think of my website, I think of having long form pieces of content. And from there, breaking up that long form piece of content and siphoning it off to other channels such as social media, email marketing, things like that. For me, a long form piece of content is in the form of a podcast episode. I start there. And what I do from that podcast episode is that I create a blog post so that it lives forever on my website, and that when someone comes to my website, they can read this content and learn more about what I'm sharing about. But what will also happen is that that content is now searchable on Google. You are able to be found in search engines. And then from there, that piece of long form content, I break it up and I share little tidbits on social media. For example, when I have a podcast, let's use this one. I'm going to do this podcast about marketing, how your website should lead your marketing efforts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a blog post that pairs with this episode. Then I'm going to create some social media posts. I'll probably do a couple on LinkedIn. One might be sharing a tip from this episode. That could be starting with that long form piece of content on your website. I'll probably do another post that shares that I'm going to be releasing this episode to generate interest for people to come listen to it. I'll do the same on Instagram and Facebook. And then I most likely will share with a few people that I'm networking with during the week that this episode comes out about this piece of content. What I'm doing is I'm creating my website. The content on my website is the center of my marketing hub. Everything is pointing back to the website because I know when someone comes to read that content on my website is set up strategically so that it's going to do the heavy lifting for me, and it's going to walk that user through a journey that will eventually lead them to taking the next step with me, be it working with me, filling out my contact form, or signing up for my conversion newsletters that I send out every Thursday. Whatever that action is that I want them to take on the website, it's designed in a way that will guide them through the process. But it all comes back to getting people to your website. What I typically tend to do is suggest to my clients when they think about their blogs, and this can come from a podcast episode, like I said, or they could just write a long form blog post. Or if they have a YouTube channel, you can repurpose that to be a post. You want to think about your core topics. In my case, I have 3 core topics that I like to talk about. I like to talk about website conversions, strategic design, and systems and processes. Think about you. What are the 3 core topics that your business talks about? What is that main problem that you solve for your clients? And once you have these topics, you're going to want to come up with a list of common questions about each core topic. And you will probably want to create some content, some long form content on your website about each of these questions. And when you do that, you can repurpose that long form content to all of your other marketing platforms. It starts at your website. A lot of times, I see businesses who make social media marketing plans. They do this, but on their social media side, they have these pillars, these core topics that they're going to talk about, and they've identified content that they're going to write about. But this content is in the form of small posts on Instagram or LinkedIn. That is how they're using this content. What I'm suggesting is that make this work evergreen. You've gone to the trouble to creating this marketing plan, but then you're putting the content in a place that it may just disappear forever in. Perhaps use this strategy, this plan on your website, and then break it down from there. A lot of times people just have it backwards. They put their eggs in the social media basket when they should be putting it onto their website first. Here's how it would look like. For this podcast, for an example, I would write a detailed blog post about it. Then, like I said, I'm breaking it into smaller pieces for social. But what I'm doing is I'm always linking back to the full post on my website. I am taking people back to my website so that they can then take the next step in their journey. How many times have you seen those beautiful carousel posts on Instagram. I've seen so many, and they just disappear after a day. And I know that someone has spent a significant amount of time, A, creating the beautiful graphics, and B, actually writing the caption for those posts. But what if you took that same amazing content and made it a cornerstone page on your website? What I'm suggesting is that you start with your website first and funnel everything off from there. I want to give you some actionable steps today to think of how you can make this work in terms of your own website. Because I find a lot of small businesses have spent a lot of effort, time, a lot of their mental energy creating content for social media that has just gone away, and it hasn't appeared on their website. So thinking about your website, look at it. What's already on your website? What blog posts are there? What is really performing the best? Look at your analytics, see where people are landing, how long they're staying on your blog posts. And then consider using a tool like AI to get some more topics that you can write about. For example, you can use a prompt such as, what questions do business owners have about small business website design, if I were to use me? And it would list a bunch of different questions. Think about those questions, look at the content you have, and then note what's missing. What can you add to it? Or think about your consultation calls or conversations that you've had with potential clients. What questions have they asked? Then look at the content that you have on your website. What's missing there? And then create a simple content plan that is website focused first. You want to think about your core topics. Create a plan to start writing those core topics and then supporting content. And what you're going to do is that's going to be your first piece of content. I like to refer to this as long form content that you can break up and siphon out and put on all these other platforms. I want you to think of this as building a house. You need a solid foundation on your website for these foundational questions before adding rooms. Your website content, it works the same way. Start with your core topics and then build them out and keep expanding. To sum this all up, what I'm sharing is that you actually need to flip the script. Your website should be the center of your marketing plan. Everything should stem and flow from there. You want to create content and you want to make sure that the work that you're doing is something that is going to live on. And when you add content to your website, it will live on forever. And you could be found on Google years after the fact when you post something on your website. So look at your website, think about what content you can add to that and what you can funnel through and share elsewhere, but thinking about your website as the hub of your content strategy. Now, if you're feeling overwhelmed about how to transform your website into this powerful marketing foundation you discussed, I absolutely get it. Many business owners I work with initially feel the same way. That's why I invite you to book a free 30-minute consultation call with me. And during this call, we can analyze your current website setup, identify some quick opportunities to position it as your marketing hub, and create a simple action plan for you to implement. Click the link in the show notes to book your call today. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you found it valuable, please consider sharing it with a fellow small business owner who might benefit. And don't forget to subscribe so you can see me next week. And that wraps up another episode of Website Design Made Simple. I hope you found the insights shared in this episode valuable and takes you one step closer to creating a website that attracts more of your ideal clients and builds your brand. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify. Your review will help us reach more small business owners like you who are ready to make more money with their website. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.